Hello guys, this is Karan, your friend on Road to Success, and let us start with Lecture 1 Evolution, Class 12 Biology. If you haven't watched the other videos, go check out the channel. Don't forget to subscribe the channel, like the video and share it with your friends. Let us start with the Lecture 1 of Evolution. So, evolution is a Greek word in which E means out and volvere means to roll. So what is evolution? Evolution is study of history of development of newer forms of life from the pre-existing ones. Okay. So here we'll be learning about the origin of universe, then the origin of life, and then how the human evolved. So let us get to know about the origin of universe. So the origin of universe is explained by the Big Bang theory, which is the most accepted theory in the world. It was given by Abel in 1931. So the theory states that universe started with a big bang, that is a thermonuclear explosion. So universe originated 20 billion years ago because of a thermonuclear explosion of a dense entity. After that, universe started expanding and therefore temperature came down. Then the elementary atom on the universe, the hydrogen, started fusing and formed heavier atoms. Hence, the universe was formed. Now, let us talk about how life originated on Earth. So, we'll be talking about different theories given for the origin of life. The very first theory given was theory of special creation. What did it say? It stated that some special power created life. The second theory was nebular hypothesis given by Kant and Laplace. They said solar system was created about 4.5 to 5 billion years ago when the gaseous cloud called solar nebula was formed. Next is the Cosmosoic Theory. They said that spore-like things of the primitive life, which they called panspermia, came to the earth from other planets. Now we know that these spores must have been killed by the extreme and harsh climate of the space before it reached the earth. Next was the theory of spontaneous generation or abiogenesis. It stated that under certain conditions, non-living substances gave rise to living beings spontaneously. But now we know that living beings are neither produced spontaneously nor created. Let us talk about biogenesis. That is, life comes from pre-existing life or what we call as omne vivum e vivo. Biogenesis was later proved by Reddy, Spallanzani and Pasteur. Louis Pasteur in 1864 gave a Swan neck experiment which disproved the theory of spontaneous generation. What did he do? He used a swan neck and prepared a meat broth in these flasks and also boiled them for hours and left the flask unsealed so that there was free exchange of oxygen. Later, what did he see? He saw that flask remained free of microbial growth. Therefore, it disproved the theory of spontaneous generation. So this is Louis Pasteur's swan neck experiment. This is the round bottom flask with a swan neck जिसमें उसने घंटों के लिए मीट ब्रॉथ को बॉईल किया. बॉईल करने से क्या हुआ, जो अंदर एयर थी वो स्टेराइल हो गई. तो एयर में तो कोई बैक्टीरिया प्रेजेंट नहीं होगा, इसलिए मीट ब्रॉथ में भी कोई बैक्टीरिया नहीं आए. फिर क्या किया उसने, उसी मीट ब्रॉथ का जो नेक था उसको तोड़ दिया. एंड देन क्या हुआ, अब सीधी एयर आ रही है इसलिए वो कंटामिनेटेड होगी, देयरफॉर बैक्टीरिया की ग्रोथ होगी. ठीक है. This is how he proved that the bacterial growth was not from the meat broth but the contaminated air which contacted the meat broth. Hence, he disproved the theory of spontaneous generation. Next, let us talk about the modern hypothesis of origin of life, which was formulated by Haeckel, and this idea was elaborated by Oparin and Haldane. Now, these scientists are very important. They even come in the Neet exam. The ideas were written by Oparin in his book The Origin of Life, published in 1938. So this is Mr. Oparin and this is Mr. Haldane. The Oparin-Haldane theory or proto-biogenesis divided the process of evolution into origin of Earth, then the chemical evolution also known as chemogeny, or the biological evolution or the bioevolution. Okay. So let us talk about chemical evolution given by Oparin and Haldane. तो हमारी जो प्रेजेंट एनवायरमेंटल कंडीशन है उसमें तो स्पॉन्टेनियस जनरेशन हो ही नहीं सकती है ना. देन दे स्टेटेड दैट द एटमॉस्फेयर ऑफ अर्थ वाज एंटायरली डिफरेंट फ्रॉम द एटमॉस्फेयर एट प्रेजेंट. So how was Earth's initial atmosphere? It was reducing. इनिशियल अर्थ में क्या था? हाई टेम्परेचर था, वॉल्केनिक एरप्शंस हो रहे थे, रेड्यूसिंग एटमॉस्फेयर था. रेड्यूसिंग एटमॉस्फेयर क्या है? उसमें गैसेस CH4 होगा, NH3 गैसेस होंगी, ठीक है, ऑक्सीजन नहीं होगी. So let us talk about Miller's experiment performed by Miller, a student of Urey. Miller carried out this experiment in 1953. It was an experimental support to operant and Haldane theory as well as the chemical evolution. That is, how from the initial compound or the elements present on the earth, primitive life was formed. So when Miller in this experimental setup made the same conditions as of the initial earth, that is the reducing atmosphere, high temperature, he added CH4, NH3, H2O and H2 gases in this, and he heated them to the temperature of 800 degrees Celsius. What did he see? He saw the formation of amino acids here. So this is how the origin of life happened. Many other scientists performed the same experiment and they found the formation of different organic molecules like nucleic acid, carbohydrates, etc. So the formation of a protein molecule was a landmark in the origin of life. Synthesis of carbohydrates, fats and amino acids and other complex organic substances presumably occurred in sea. This was given by Haldane and he called it the hot dilute soup because the temperature was high and many reactions were happening in the sea. Next, let us talk about the protocell model. What is a protocell? It is the structures formed from the aggregation of abiotic components. The very first protocell model was the proteinoids. These are the polypeptides synthesized by heating the mixture of amino acids to 160 degree to 1000 degrees Celsius. So what actually happened was that on the primitive earth, large organic molecules were synthesized. They started forming large colloidal aggregates due to the intermolecular attraction. These were the water-bound aggregates. So Sidney Fox called them the microspheres. Next protocell model was coacervate. So they are the aggregates of macromolecules such as proteins, lipids, nucleic acids. So they all formed a colloidal unit. So after forming the colloidal unit, it resembled a living matter. They were like cell, but they could not reproduce. But in some cell-like structures, they contain lipid layers and enzymes, and this is what was called as cell. Let us talk about biogenesis. As we have earlier talked that biogenesis is that living organisms only arise from the other living organisms similar to itself and not from the non-living material. So how exactly was life originated? It was that giant self-replicating aggregates of macromolecules came together and started the formation of various complex biological forms known as the biological evolution. So now we'll be talking about the biological evolution. The very first living organisms which must have been originated were in the organic molecules and reducing atmosphere. So reducing atmosphere was oxygen free, therefore these organisms must be anaerobes. Hence their energy source should be a fermentation of other organic molecules. Since they depended on existing organic molecules, they were known as heterotrophs. Slowly the organic molecules exhausted and heterotrophs turned into autotrophs, that is, they were capable of producing their own organic molecules. How did they produce? They produced using two methods, that is chemosynthesis and photosynthesis. The organisms producing organic molecules through chemosynthesis were known as chemoautotrophs, while which produced through photosynthesis were known as photoautotrophs. So the chemoautotrophs as well as the photoautotrophs were anaerobes. How did the chemosynthesis occur? They produced organic molecules from the inorganic molecules, while the photoautotrophs had pigment called chlorophyll which used solar energy to produce organic molecules. They used hydrogen atom from the atmosphere and not from the water. And slowly oxygen releasing photosynthetic organisms evolved. They were similar to the cyanobacteria. They used water to get hydrogen and hence released oxygen. Later on Earth, aerobic respiration increased, therefore there was an increase of oxygen on Earth. Hence, these prokaryotes modified themselves into the eukaryotic cell-like organisms. These eukaryotic cell-like organisms must have originated in ocean approximately 1.5 billion years ago. These eukaryotic cell-like organisms had true nucleus as well as cell organelles. So these led to the evolution of protists, fungi, plants and animals as well. So life on Earth was present from 3.9 billion years ago, but the oldest microfossil discovered was of photosynthetic cyanobacteria, that is from 3.3 to 3.5 billion years ago. Hope you have understood the lecture 1 of class 12th evolution biology. If you have any queries, do comment below. Don't forget to subscribe the channel, like the videos and do check out the channel for other videos. Bye.